What is up, guys? Diffusion Gaming here. This is going to be an in-depth guide of warrior key bindings and macros. Hey guys, this is the basically in-depth guide of macros and keybinds. So let's get into macros. You're going to notice that throughout this video I'm going to talk relatively quick because I don't want this to be like a 25-minute video of me jumping around in Stormwind. So I'm going to talk quick, not too fast that you can't understand anything, but fast enough to get this video done quickly. Now stop. I need to stop talking and I need to get on with this so I don't prolong the video for me just talking about stupid stuff. So let's start with our macros. The first macros I'm going to start with are, okay, I'm going to say they're not needed necessarily. I think they're needed for me, and most high-end players use these because they're just extremely useful. So I'm gonna get into it. Basically, it's going to be a macro that basically it's going to charge any of your arena frames. So if you have /cast target equals arena 1 and bracket charge, it's going to charge the first player on your arena frames. Then if you do 2 for this right here, it's going to charge 2, and 3 is going to charge 3. I have the same thing for pummels. Now, pummels for this is a little more situational because they obviously need to be in range, and this is just a basic melee range. So they're obviously not used as much, but when they're there, they are useful. I have them bound to... I'll show you the binds later. Okay, so first macro is going to be charge and hamstring. This is a very simple, not necessarily needed, but very useful, very useful macro. It's basically going to allow you to charge and hamstring all in one button. And so you can just spam hamstring using the same thing as charge, and then you can just, charge whatever. It is very useful. I like it a lot. Okay, so the next macro is going to be this one, which is going to equip your two-handed weapon. Whoops. www. Okay. Equip your two-handed weapon. It's going to put you into battle stance too. Now, you can play in defensive stance most of the time until you're bursting, because basically defensive stance decreases your damage taken by 25%, which is a hell of a lot of damage. And I'm probably going to start playing like that and see what it's like, because I'm much more used to the old warrior things because I haven't been playing as much this expansion. I am just now starting to play a ton. So that's going to do that, and I'll show you why you need that macro, and that's because it's essential, because these macros are as essential as well. Shield wall, which is going to equip your one-hander and shield and cast shield wall and bring you into defensive stance. I do not know why my macros got all screwed up. That's weird. And so it's going to bring you in defensive stance and cast shield wall. You're going to need to tap it a few times, just because it needs to get off the defensive and the shield wall, since I think they're in separate GCDs. Or same GCDs, sorry. And so that does that 40% damage reduction for 12 seconds. Then you use the macro that I told you about before, which brings you to your two-hander. So mine's shift 3, so right to my two-hander in battle stance, so that is useful as hell. So then we have spell reflection, which is also one that is going to equip your one-hander and shield. That's going to give you spell reflection, which self-explanatory, reflects a spell. So, like right here, you can see in this video, right over here, I spell reflect a mage's pyroblast for 96k. This is a very useful ability. It is one of the most situational abilities you have as a warrior, just because it lasts, I think, 4 seconds, and it only reflects one spell. And sometimes people will take advantage of that and cast something that's not going to do much damage and waste your spell reflect. Good players will do that. They will do that. So spell reflection is just kind of there because sometimes they make mistakes, or they're not good enough and don't have the awareness to realize you have spell reflect up, even though it has this huge shield above your head. So yes, if a mage freezes you, they're going to crit on you with their ability, and I was lucky enough to get hit with a pyroblast. The thing is, it reflects it so it doesn't do damage to you, but it does it to him. So I crit him for 96k with that, and that was amazing. That's nearly 1/3 of his health, and then I was able to kill him just because of that spell reflect. So now let's go into what other macros. We have our basically, some people call it the one-shot macro. I like to call it my... Well, I call it the one-shot macro just because that's what everybody calls it, but I would define it as a massive cooldown macro just because you are not going to one-shot somebody with this macro. You're not going to one-shot somebody unless maybe they're squishy and you have full taste for blood stacks and you get a good heroic strike crit and with your cooldowns, then you might one-shot somebody. But yeah, otherwise in arena you're not going to one-shot somebody with this macro. It's just your big damage cooldown. So you have Deadly Calm. And Deadly Calm, basically, let's find it, because they changed it. I can't say exactly what it does until I find the talent. Right here. You enter your battle trance, reducing the cost of your next 3 heroic strike or cleave attacks by 10 rage. Now, while this doesn't necessarily increase your damage done, it's useful for rage management. When you're popping cooldowns and going ham, you want to have the most rage possible. And that's that. Then you have your Dreadful Gladiator's Badge of Victory. I wish I had Malevolent, but I do not, because I don't have all the gear in the world. That trinket increases your strength, so in this case 4,000 strength, which increases your attack power, which then therefore will increase your damage done by melee weapons. Then you have your Avatar. Avatar increases your damage done by 20%. It also brings you out of roots and snares. So that's also kind of situational, but when you're doing it for damage, it's not because you're, you're going to use it for damage all the time. You're not going to use it to break out of snares unless you're MLG pro and use abilities not how they're meant to be made and then somehow win. But yeah, you're not going to. So, Recklessness increases your crit chance by 50%. In the previous expansions, it actually made you also take damage 20% more. So it was one of those abilities where you kind of had to make sure it was the perfect time to use it. Like, you had to get perfect CC chains and everything to use it, or make sure they're not doing too much damage, because they will kill you. Basically, it meant if the warrior turns red, switch to the warrior. So this is also going to give you Berserker Rage. This is a debatable ability to use in your big macro, because it is also useful for getting out of fears, saps, and incapacitate effects. So yeah, it's really useful for getting out of those kinds of things. But when you're popping everything, it's not a bad idea to have this up, because it increases your damage done by 10%, and you're not going to get feared while you're in it. I'm pretty sure it can be, since it's in rage, it can be shivved off, or tranquilized shotted off, I guess, shotted? I don't know. So then you have Skull Banner. This increases the amount of critical strike damage you do, basically, so not chance. Basically, if you crit for 100k damage, you're going to crit for 100k damage plus 20%. So in turn, it's a damage increasing ability. So I'll just display me just kind of mashing buttons just to show you the damage of these. So this is just me, kind of screwing around. Then this is with the macros and everything. So you're obviously going to do a lot more damage. Now, yeah. So you're going to do damage with this. These are your abilities. There you go. So, awesome pro throw. Now, that is pretty much it for the macros. This is a macro I have called shit because I use it for FCing when something bad happens, or when I need to pop on my defensive cooldowns. You're not going to need that, because most of those you don't even have for arms, so that does not apply. Let's go right into our keybinds. So for my pummel 1, 2, 3s, I have control 4, control 5, and control 6. For charge, I have control 1, control 2, and control 3. I'll zoom in on these two. And the thing is, I am using a Razer Naga, which has, I think, 17 buttons total, which is going to help you a ton. It's one of those things where I can almost, it's hard to play without it. And so you can definitely manage without a Razer Naga. You don't need one. Actually, most people don't have a Razer Naga. It's nice to have one, but most people don't. They just have a regular mouse, or a mouse with a couple extra buttons, and they utilize their keyboard more than a Naga user would. And so then I have all my damage ones that I just did for you is Shift C. Then I have Spell Reflection is Shift 1, Avatar is Shift 2. Going back into my Battle Stance and two-hander
is Shift 3. Shattering Throw is V. My damage, my Strength Trinket's Alt 1. Reckless Alt 2. Trinket is G. Skull Banner is Shift 11. And yes, Shift 11 is only going to work if you're using a naga or if you're left-handed. So then you have Safeguard, which replaces Intervene now. That's Shift 8. We have Die by the Sword, which replaced Retaliation, which is R. I have Tilde as Berserker Rage. Button 3 is Heroic Leap, which is my middle mouse button. Now normally it would do it all in one. I had a script for my naga that would basically make me leap wherever I clicked with it. But since I had to reinstall my operating system, I don't have the script ready yet, so I'll do that later. And I'll actually make a video for you guys of the script, so you guys can do that yourself. Intimidating Shout is another button only on the naga, but basically it's button 4. Other mouses will have button 4s and button 5s and things like that, but this one is located to the left of it's a bottom left clicker one. It's hard to describe. I'll show you a picture right here. Okay, so that's that. Then you have button 5, which is your Piercing Howl, which is your AoE slow. Demoralizing, or what's it called? Demoralizing banner, something like that. It's just a banner for defensive, which decreases damage taken. Then you have Disarm. I have that as Shift 7. You used to have to go into defensive stance just to do that. Now you don't need to, which is amazing. Victory Rush is Shift button 5 again, so that's the same one as Piercing Howl, but with Shift as the modifier. Shift 6 is Rallying Cry, which increases your damage, or your health by 20%. Shift 4 is Shield Wall. Alt 7 is Commanding Shout. Battle Shout is Alt 8, and then I have my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Thunderclap is Shift G. Heroic Throw is T, and Pummel is F. So those are my key bindings, guys. Thank you for watching. This was a long video, and I hope you didn't get annoyed by me talking for, 12 minutes, I think? So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope this helped you. I really hope this helped you, because I'm gonna make a ton of tutorials for WoW and things like that, because I really like helping people, and I feel that those videos are probably some of the most beneficial to make. So again, probably the third time I've said this, thank you guys for watching, and have a wonderful